It is the very essence of our existence, an invisible ocean in which we live and move. The air we draw, a constant unconscious act, fuels the intricate machinery of life within us, powering every thought, every movement, every heartbeat. Oxygen, the giver of life, sustainer of worlds, a molecule so vital its absence means swift oblivion. Yet, this benevolent force, this cornerstone of vitality, harbors a capacity for devastation few truly comprehend, a duality woven into the fabric of our planet's story. It is a silent partner in our survival, always present, rarely acknowledged. Consider this, the very same element that keeps your brain alive, processing these words, painting images in your mind's theater can, under different circumstances, shut it down in mere seconds. A chilling thought, that the breath sustaining you holds such contrary potentials, a delicate balance easily tipped. It has been the savior of pioneers pushing the boundaries of human endurance, astronauts venturing into the void, relying on its manufactured presence, but it has also been their executioner, as we shall see, turning sanctuaries into infernos, vessels of exploration into fiery tombs, oxygen, a paradox of creation and destruction playing out across eons. Indeed, it was oxygen that saved astronauts cocooned in their fragile craft, allowing them to traverse the hostile vacuum of space, to walk upon another world, a testament to human ingenuity. But it was also oxygen, in its purest, most concentrated form, that burned them alive, a tragic lesson in its volatile nature. This gas, so intimately familiar, the first breath of a newborn, the last sigh of the dying, is not a gentle friend. It is a powerful, reactive entity, demanding respect, its embrace life-giving, its unchecked power, utterly terrifying. A constant reminder of nature's formidable, often hidden might, and so, we embark on a journey to explore this elemental enigma. Oxygen, the gas you inhale right now, this very moment might be silently, subtly plotting your downfall. Its story is not one of simple benevolence, but of complex, often brutal truths. We will witness tales of its unpredictable temperament, stories of life given, and life tragically, unexpectedly taken. These are not fictions, but true accounts etched in human experience, revealing the fragile line between breath and oblivion. Prepare to witness oxygen as you have never seen it before, a force of nature capable of both profound creation and swift, merciless destruction. In the hushed, sterile confines of the neonatal ward, a battle for survival unfolds. Here, the tiniest of humans, born far too soon, their bodies yet unready for the harsh realities of the world, lie suspended between life and the encroaching shadows. Their lungs, delicate and underdeveloped, struggle for each precious breath, a poignant symphony of vulnerability and resilience. For these fragile beings, every minute is a victory, every gasp of air a testament to the tenacious grip of life, a silent plea understood by all who watch over them. Modern medicine, in its relentless quest to nurture these nascent lives, offers a lifeline. This lifeline, a seemingly miraculous intervention, arrived in the form of pure oxygen. Administered with the best intentions, it was believed to be a panacea, a way to bolster their struggling respiratory systems, to provide the vital element their immature lungs could not efficiently extract. Doctors, nurses, and anguished parents alike placed their faith in this invisible yet powerful therapeutic agent. The rhythmic hiss of the oxygen supply became a sound of reassurance, a promise of strength for these infants teetering on the brink. It was a symbol of hope, a shield against the darkness. In those early days, the results appeared to validate this unwavering belief. Many premature infants who might otherwise have succumbed began to thrive. Their tiny chests rose and fell with greater ease, their skin gained a healthier hue. It seemed that science had indeed found a way to shepherd these vulnerable souls through the perilous early stages of their existence, a triumph of human care. The incubators, bathed in the glow of life support systems, were seen as havens, where oxygen, the breath of life, worked its gentle, restorative magic, coaxing forth vitality. A collective sigh of relief echoed through nurseries worldwide, but hidden within this life-sustaining embrace, a danger lay dormant, an insidious consequence that no one, in their earnest efforts, foresaw. The very element administered to preserve life and nurture growth was, in its concentrated abundance, preparing to exact a terrible price. The delicate balance of nature, so often overlooked in the pursuit of solutions, was being inadvertently disturbed, with repercussions yet to be unveiled. These infants, saved from the immediate threat of respiratory failure, were unknowingly being guided towards a different lifelong affliction, a cruel twist in their nascent journey. Then, a disturbing pattern began to emerge, a shadow falling over the perceived success. Reports surfaced of infants once considered out of danger, developing an alarming affliction within their precious eyes. A creeping, silent damage that stole the light before they had truly seen the world. Medical professionals, initially perplexed, searched for answers, their concern growing with each new tragic case. The very gift of survival seemed to be intertwined with an unforeseen and devastating consequence, a bitter harvest. The initial wave of optimism began to recede, replaced by a dawning, dreadful realization. This was not an isolated incident but a widespread, emergent crisis. The scale of this unexpected tragedy was staggering. Thousands of premature babies across continents were affected. Their developing retinas, the delicate tissues responsible for sight, were being irreversibly harmed, leading to permanent blindness. Lives that had been so carefully nurtured, so fiercely protected, were now plunged into a world of perpetual darkness. The joy of survival was cruelly tainted by this profound loss, a future altered in the most fundamental way. The medical community grappled with the enormity of this iatrogenic catastrophe, a harm caused by the very act of healing. The diagnosis, when it finally came, was retinopathy of prematurity, a condition directly linked to the high concentrations of oxygen administered to these vulnerable newborns in their earliest days. The excess oxygen, intended to support their lungs, instead caused an abnormal proliferation of blood vessels in their eyes. These new vessels were fragile, prone to leakage and scarring, ultimately detaching the retina, the light-sensitive canvas of vision. A complex biological process, with a devastatingly simple outcome: the erasure of sight, a cruel paradox of care. The delicate, forming eye, so sensitive to its environment, had been overwhelmed. And so, the stark truth became undeniable, a harsh lesson etched in suffering. Oxygen, the celebrated lifesaver, had, in this specific, vulnerable context, played a profoundly destructive role. It didn't save their sight; with an almost surgical precision, it erased it. The element revered for its life-giving properties had revealed its capacity for targeted, irreparable harm. This tragic chapter in medical history underscored the critical importance of understanding the intricate, often perilous, balance of our body's chemistry, and the profound responsibility that comes with intervening in nature's delicate designs. A somber reminder that even the most benevolent intentions can pave a path to unforeseen sorrow. Beyond the sunlit ripples of the ocean's surface lies a realm of profound mystery, a silent alien world that has beckoned explorers for generations. Technical diving represents humanity's audacious ambition to penetrate these depths, requiring specialized training, sophisticated equipment, and nerves of steel. It is a pursuit that pushes the very limits of physiological endurance, where the familiar rules of the terrestrial world no longer apply. Here, every breath is calculated, every meter descended a step further into an environment that is both breathtakingly beautiful and inherently hostile. The allure is undeniable: to witness wonders unseen by most, to touch the unknown. Our protagonist, an experienced technical diver, was no stranger to these challenges. With numerous deep dives logged, and a profound understanding of the risks involved, he moved with a quiet confidence, a master of his underwater domain. His equipment, a complex array of cylinders, regulators, and gauges, was an extension of his own being, meticulously maintained and trusted implicitly. He sought the thrill of exploration, the serene solitude found only in the crushing embrace of the deep blue, a world away from the clamor above. Each descent was a carefully orchestrated ballet of skill and technology, a testament to human adaptability in the face of nature's formidable barriers. On this particular dive, the plan involved a descent below 20 meters, a significant depth, employing pure oxygen for a specific portion of the dive profile. Perhaps it was for an accelerated decompression, a common practice in technical diving, though typically reserved for shallower depths after a long deep dive on mixed gases. Or perhaps a miscalculation, a moment where procedure bent to ambition. Whatever the precise rationale, the diver proceeded, relying on his training, unaware that the very gas intended to manage his physiological burden was on the verge of becoming a treacherous adversary. The water column slid past, the surface light fading to an ethereal twilight. As he descended further, the ambient pressure mounted relentlessly, an invisible force compressing everything around him, including the gases he breathed. The ocean's embrace tightened, a constant reminder of its immense power. The world transformed into a muted landscape of blues and grays, the silence broken only by the rhythmic pulse of his own exhalations. He was in his element, focused, a solitary explorer in a vast liquid universe. Yet with each passing meter, the partial pressure of the oxygen he inhaled climbed steadily, silently, towards a critical, unseen threshold, a tipping point between life support and neurological assault. Then, without warning, the insidious effects of the highly pressurized oxygen took hold. A sudden violent convulsion racked the diver's body, a terrifying loss of muscular control deep beneath the waves. His mind, moments before clear and focused, was plunged into chaos. The carefully managed dive instantly transformed into a desperate struggle. The serene beauty of the underwater world became a scene of frantic, silent peril, his body betraying him in the most unforgiving of environments. This was central nervous system oxygen toxicity, a diver's nightmare, striking with brutal, unannounced ferocity. The life-sustaining mouthpiece, his connection to breathable air, slipped from his grasp, drifting away into the indifferent water, a lifeline severed. Water flooded his mouth, a chilling intrusion as his lungs burned for air. Disoriented, convulsing, he began to sink, a horrifying, helpless descent into the crushing darkness, with consciousness rapidly fading. The very element that sustained him on land, and in shallower waters, had, under the immense pressure of depth, become a potent poison, triggering a catastrophic neurological event. The explanation lies in the unforgiving physics of diving. Oxygen, while essential for life, becomes toxic to the central nervous system when its partial pressure exceeds a certain limit, typically around 1.4 to 1.6 atmospheres. At depths below even 6 or 7 meters on pure oxygen, this threshold can be reached. At 20 meters, the partial pressure of pure oxygen would be 3 atmospheres, far exceeding safe limits, inevitably leading to convulsions in susceptible individuals. The increased pressure forces more oxygen molecules into the body's tissues than the nervous system can safely handle, disrupting its delicate electrochemical balance. It is a stark demonstration of how an environment can fundamentally alter a substance's properties. Thus, the grim paradox is laid bare for those who venture into the deep. At the surface, oxygen is breath, the gentle elixir of life, freely given, but under pressure in the silent, crushing depths of the ocean it transforms. It becomes a poison, a neurological saboteur capable of turning a seasoned explorer into a helpless victim, a chilling testament to its dual nature. The diver's near-fatal experience serves as a stark reminder. The ocean's embrace is conditional, its beauty masking dangers that demand unwavering respect for the immutable laws of physiology and physics. Oxygen's benign mask can slip, revealing a far more formidable and sometimes lethal countenance. Mount Everest, Sagarmatha, Chomolungma. The highest point on our planet, a colossal pyramid of rock and ice. Its formidable slopes are the ultimate proving ground for human endurance. To stand upon its summit is to achieve a dream cherished by mountaineers. But this colossus demands a heavy toll, its beauty masking dangers. The spring climbing season of 2019 etched a grim chapter. Unprecedented numbers of climbers converged on its narrow, treacherous pathways. This created a traffic jam, a slow, agonizing procession of humanity. Each climber carried a finite supply of bottled oxygen. This metallic lifeline was the key to survival in the death zone. Above 8,000 meters, the air holds but a third of the oxygen. Every breath is a struggle, every movement an immense effort. Supplemental oxygen becomes a stark necessity. Without it, judgment falters, strength wanes, and the body shuts down. The climbers in 2019 monitored their gauges with anxiety, knowing that each moment spent waiting brought them closer to depletion. The mountain, indifferent to their plight, offered no respite. The term death zone is no hyperbole. It is a realm where the human body is slowly dying. Hypoxia leads to severe headaches, nausea, impaired coordination, and clouded judgment. In this state, even the simplest decisions can become life-threatening. The climbers, queued up on exposed ridges, were aware their window was closing, their oxygen reserves dwindling with every passing minute, turning their ascent into a desperate race against an invisible clock. Imagine the scene. A line of determined figures silhouetted against the vast, indifferent expanse of the Himalayas, inching forward, agonizingly slowly. The summit, tantalizingly close, yet separated by a bottleneck of fellow aspirants. Below them, a sheer drop of thousands of feet. Above the thinning atmosphere, the precious oxygen hissed from their tanks, was their shield against the mountain's lethal embrace. But as delays stretched from minutes into hours, that shield began to wear thin. Anxious glances were exchanged, hushed, desperate calculations made. The life-giving gas, so carefully rationed, was now being consumed not in active ascent, but in a frustrating, perilous standstill, a cruel irony at the roof of the world. As oxygen levels in their tanks plummeted, the insidious effects of severe hypoxia began to take their relentless hold. Exhaustion, already profound from days of climbing, intensified. Cognitive function deteriorated, transforming experienced mountaineers into disoriented, struggling individuals. The biting cold, a constant adversary, seeped deeper into their bones, adding to their misery and accelerating the depletion of their remaining energy. The mountain, which had seemed a conquerable challenge just hours before, now loomed as an insurmountable, hostile entity. Their bodies, starved of oxygen, began to betray them, muscles screaming in protest, lungs burning with each inadequate gasp of the rarefied air. Tragically for some, the supply ran out completely. 11 climbers would not make it down that season, victims of a deadly combination of factors: the unexpected delays, the resulting oxygen deprivation, profound exhaustion, and the unforgiving environment. Some succumbed on the descent, their bodies finally surrendering to the overwhelming physiological stress. Others, heartbreakingly, are said to have perished while still standing or sitting frozen in place, eternal monuments to the lethal gamble of high-altitude mountaineering. They were so achingly close to their ultimate goal, yet the invisible thread of oxygen, their connection to life, snapped first, leaving them stranded in that beautiful, desolate, and ultimately fatal landscape. The 2019 Everest disaster serves as a stark and chilling reminder of humanity's dependence on this singular, invisible gas. In the relentless pursuit of a summit, in the very thin air where the world touches the void, oxygen is the ultimate arbiter of life and death. Its absence, even for a short period, can unravel the strongest will, dismantle the most prepared expedition. The traffic jam that year was not merely a logistical problem, it became a fatal choke point, highlighting the precarious balance climbers must maintain, and the devastating consequences when that balance is tipped, even slightly, in the unforgiving theater of the world's highest peaks. Imagine the scene, a line of determined figures silhouetted against the vast, indifferent expanse of the Himalayas, inching forward, agonizingly slowly. The summit, tantalizingly close, yet separated by a bottleneck of fellow aspirants. Below them, a sheer drop of thousands of feet, above the thinning atmosphere. The precious oxygen hissed from their tanks was their shield against the mountain's lethal embrace. But as delays stretched from minutes into hours, that shield began to wear thin. Anxious glances were exchanged, hushed, desperate calculations made. The life-giving gas, so carefully rationed, was now being consumed not in active ascent, but in a frustrating, perilous standstill, a cruel irony at the roof of the world. As oxygen levels in their tanks plummeted, the insidious effects of severe hypoxia began to take their relentless hold. Exhaustion, already profound from days of climbing, intensified. Cognitive function deteriorated, transforming experienced mountaineers into disoriented, struggling individuals. The biting cold, a constant adversary, seeped deeper into their bones, adding to their misery and accelerating the depletion of their remaining energy. The mountain, which had seemed a conquerable challenge just hours before, now loomed as an insurmountable, hostile entity. Their bodies, starved of oxygen, began to betray them, muscles screaming in protest, lungs burning with each inadequate gasp of the rarefied air. Tragically for some, the supply ran out completely. 11 climbers would not make it down that season, victims of a deadly combination of factors: the unexpected delays, the resulting oxygen deprivation, profound exhaustion, and the unforgiving environment. Some succumbed on the descent, their bodies finally surrendering to the overwhelming physiological stress. Others, heartbreakingly, are said to have perished while still standing or sitting frozen in place, eternal monuments to the lethal gamble of high-altitude mountaineering. They were so achingly close to their ultimate goal, yet the invisible thread of oxygen, their connection to life, snapped first, leaving them stranded in that beautiful, desolate, and ultimately fatal landscape. The 2019 Everest disaster serves as a stark and chilling reminder of humanity's dependence on this singular, invisible gas. In the relentless pursuit of a summit, in the very thin air where the world touches the void, oxygen is the ultimate arbiter of life and death. Its absence, even for a short period, can unravel the strongest will, dismantle the most prepared expedition. The traffic jam that year was not merely a logistical problem, it became a fatal choke point, highlighting the precarious balance climbers must maintain, and the devastating consequences when that balance is tipped, even slightly, in the unforgiving theater of the world's highest peaks. Oxygen, the cornerstone of life, yet a double-edged sword. Vital for respiration, it powers our cells, but its reactivity can also fuel destruction. A true double-edged sword, sustaining life and igniting flames. The safety of oxygen is a matter of precise regulation, a delicate dance on a narrow tightrope. Our bodies operate within a specific range of oxygen availability. Too little leads to hypoxia, as seen on Everest. Too much causes oxygen toxicity, threatening deep-sea divers. This balance is fundamental to life. The oxygen-hemoglobin dissociation curve shows how hemoglobin binds and releases oxygen. In the lungs, hemoglobin saturates with oxygen. In tissues, it releases oxygen. Critical thresholds on this curve are vital. Low levels cause inadequate tissue oxygenation. High levels lead to oxidative stress and damage. The seizure threshold illustrates oxygen toxicity. High oxygen pressure can overstimulate the nervous system. This can cause convulsions and drowning. Excess oxygen can have catastrophic consequences. It can transform life-giving oxygen into a poison. High oxygen levels increase combustion risks. The fire triangle becomes more dangerous with more oxygen. Non-flammable materials can ignite easily in oxygen-rich environments. Safety measures in hospitals, spacecraft, and industries are crucial. Understanding these principles ensures oxygen remains a life-giver, not a life-taker. In January 2007, a Sacramento radio station held a contest called Hold Your Wii for a Wii. Participants drank water without urinating to win a Nintendo Wii. Tragically, Jennifer Strange, a mother of 3, died from water intoxication. The contest meant for fun ended in a devastating loss. Jennifer Strange's death was due to acute water intoxication, leading to hyponatremia. This condition dangerously dilutes the body's sodium levels. Sodium is essential for fluid balance and nerve function. Excessive water intake overwhelms this balance. Water moves into cells, causing them to swell. In the brain, this swelling is catastrophic. The skull's rigidity leaves no room for expansion. This leads to cerebral edema, increasing pressure. Vital brain structures are compressed, disrupting function. Symptoms include headaches, confusion, seizures, and coma. Jennifer's headache was a dire warning. Despite breathing, her brain cells were drowning. Oxygen was present but functionally unavailable. Swelling disrupted oxygen utilization in brain cells. Metabolic pathways were disrupted. Like a flooded factory, the brain couldn't process oxygen. The lights went out in her brain. Oxygen was there, but her brain was suffocating. Her brain was suffocating from an internal imbalance. Life depends on a delicate balance of factors. Disrupting this balance, even with water, can be fatal. You're breathing, but your brain is drowning. High above the earth, human ingenuity allows for fleeting dominion. Here, the air is thin, a mere whisper of life-giving gases. For the pilot, survival is a delicate pact with technology. Every breath is a testament to technology, a metered supply of oxygen. Without it, the aircraft becomes a plummeting coffin. The pilot, trained and vigilant, faces unseen dangers. The cockpit offers a semblance of security amidst the hostile atmosphere. He is a master of his domain, aware of the machine and mission. Yet, hypoxia, the gradual starvation of the brain, is a silent saboteur. It begins with a subtle malfunction, reducing the vital oxygen flow. The oxygen mask falters, not with a dramatic failure but a slow reduction. The pilot might initially perceive nothing amiss. Early stages of oxygen deprivation are deceitful, often dismissed as fatigue. The brain, deprived of oxygen, does not immediately sound an alarm. Instead, it drifts into unwarranted well-being, masking the danger. Cognitive functions erode, judgment clouds, and reaction times lengthen. It is a siren song, luring the unwary towards unconsciousness. The very element that sustains life when diminished plays a cruel trick, convincing its victim that all is well, even as the lights begin to dim. As the precious moments ticked by, the partial pressure of oxygen in the pilot's lungs continued to fall. The initial subtle symptoms of mild confusion would have begun to deepen. Tasks once performed with practiced ease now required immense concentration. The world outside the cockpit might have started to take on a dreamlike quality, the sharp edges of reality blurring as the brain struggled to maintain its balance. He was in essence becoming intoxicated by the lack of air. The insidious progression of hypoxia is relentless, from impaired judgment to a loss of fine motor control. Perhaps a growing tunnel vision narrowed his perception of the world, or a creeping numbness spread through his limbs. The danger here is not just the physical incapacitation but the cognitive failure. Too little oxygen, as the saying goes among aviators, and you feel fine right before you black out. This terrifying truth was now unfolding, thousands of feet above the silent earth. Then, the inevitable threshold was crossed. The brain, starved beyond its limit, could no longer sustain consciousness. The pilot slumped, his grip on the controls lost. The aircraft now an unguided projectile arcing through the cold, indifferent sky. For a human being, this moment signifies a profound vulnerability. But in this theater of human endeavor, another actor was waiting in the wings. The cold, impartial logic of the autopilot system. A silent guardian, pre-programmed and unfeeling, it sensed the deviation, the lack of human input, and intervened. The machine, in an instant, took command. It was a stark demonstration of technology's dual role, a system that, having indirectly contributed to the pilot's peril, now served as his unlikely rescuer. He would awaken later, the fog of hypoxia slowly lifting, to the bewildering reality of his near-fatal encounter, and the razor-thin margin between awareness and oblivion in the hostile expanse of the upper atmosphere. The Apollo program, a monumental quest to touch the moon, was born of ambition and rivalry. In 1967, astronauts Grissom, White, and Chaffee entered Apollo 1 for a crucial ground test. A stray spark in a pure oxygen environment ignited a catastrophic fire. The very element meant to sustain them became their executioner. The fire, fed by the super-rich oxygen atmosphere, spread with a speed that defied comprehension. What might have been a controllable incident in normal air became an uncontrollable inferno within seconds. The astronauts, highly trained and disciplined, reacted instantly, their voices captured on chilling recordings reporting the fire. But the conditions within the capsule were transforming with terrifying rapidity. Temperatures soared, pressure escalated, and the interior filled with acrid smoke and toxic fumes as materials, never intended to burn so fiercely, were consumed by the blaze. The pure oxygen environment accelerated combustion by an almost unimaginable factor. Their escape was tragically impeded. The complex, inward-opening hatch of the Apollo 1 command module, designed to maintain pressure integrity in the vacuum of space, became a cruel trap. Even under normal circumstances, it took at least 90 seconds to open. In the chaos of the fire, with rapidly increasing internal pressure sealing it shut and the astronauts likely succumbing to smoke inhalation and burns, opening it became an impossibility. They were caught in a crucible, a fiery tomb from which there was no egress. The dreams of lunar voyages turned into a desperate, futile struggle for survival. In less than 30 seconds, it was over. The intense heat and pressure ruptured the hull of the command module, but by then it was too late. The three men, who had bravely volunteered to push the boundaries of human experience, perished. Gus Grissom, Ed White, and Roger Chaffee became martyrs to the cause of space exploration. Their lives extinguished not in the cold vacuum of space, but on the launch pad, in a test designed to ensure their safety. They weren't in space. The grim realization dawned, but oxygen still killed them like a vacuum, its life-giving properties twisted into a force of utter devastation. The Apollo 1 disaster sent shockwaves through NASA and the world, a stark and brutal lesson in the unforgiving nature of pioneering endeavors. It forced a comprehensive re-evaluation of spacecraft design, safety protocols, and the very materials used in their construction. The pure oxygen environment for ground tests was abandoned, a clear acknowledgement of its inherent treachery. From the ashes of this tragedy, a safer, more robust Apollo program eventually emerged, one that would ultimately achieve its lunar ambitions, but forever scarred by the memory of that fiery tomb and the vital, yet perilous nature of the air we breathe. We have journeyed through stories of unexpected peril, of moments where the very essence of life, oxygen, revealed its paradoxical nature. From the delicate eyes of premature infants to the crushing depths of the ocean, from the dizzying heights of the world's tallest peaks to the confined cabins of pilots and pioneering astronauts. Each instance a stark reminder of a fundamental truth: the element that sustains us, that fuels every cell, every thought, every heartbeat, is also a powerful, reactive force capable of inflicting devastation when its delicate balance is disturbed. What if the thing that keeps you alive is always just one breath away from killing you? We tend to perceive oxygen as an unalloyed good, an invisible, omnipresent friend. It is the breath of life, the spark of consciousness, the silent partner in our every moment. Yet as we have seen, its benevolence is conditional. Too little, and the mind falters, the body succumbs. Too much, under pressure, and it becomes a neurological poison. In its pure form, it can transform a tiny spark into an uncontrollable inferno. The stories are varied, the circumstances unique, but the underlying theme resonates with a primal clarity. Oxygen demands respect. We think oxygen is life, but like all potent forces in the universe, from the gravity that holds planets in orbit to the nuclear reactions that power stars, it must be understood, managed, and controlled. Its life-giving properties are not a guarantee of safety, but rather a consequence of equilibrium. The human body, and indeed the intricate ecosystems of our planet, are testaments to millennia of adaptation, fine-tuning the processes that harness oxygen's power while mitigating its inherent risks. It is a delicate dance, a constant negotiation with a fundamental element of our existence. The secret to survival then lies not in sheer abundance but in balance, in the precise calibration of pressure, concentration, and biological adaptation. The universe operates on principles of equilibrium, and life itself is a testament to maintaining that precarious state. As we navigate our world, and as we venture into new, challenging environments, we must carry this understanding with us. For even the most vital, life-giving forces are subject to a universal imperative, a quiet, unyielding decree that governs all things.